How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about part 2. This is it.
Are we there?
Yeah, the Genesis sessions.
Oh, all right.
I know. I tried to make a Genesis joke and a Phil Collins joke, but nothing came to mind because I'm so tired. Everyone needs to know it's 2 a.m. right now. But we figured that what better time to come out, and when we have nothing left. We have given 4 solid days to this podcast. What have we done?
4 solid days, 4 solid weeks.
Yeah, but you've been in town. We've really been kicking it up a notch. Let's catch everyone up.
Yeah, since the last episode, we have grown. I think that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel taller.
Yeah, I might have shrunk slightly.
Yeah.
But I've grown spiritually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the podcast.
Me too. Yeah.
The
yeah.
podcast. Yeah, by
Yeah.
default. But the podcast has come quite a leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
Involvement, direction. We have started booking our guests for season 1, and we have established social media channels.
Yes,
And
I've been feverishly doing that and setting everything up, and also realizing my ego is still so much in control because I check the numbers and the metrics, and I know I don't need to, and I know it will grow, but you have to let go and let God, or it's gonna be fine. But it's just like, oh my God, how many people have seen our Facebook Live? And I know it's already starting. I will calm down, I promise. But when I start a new project, I just get so excited and I want to see it grow.
Absolutely. I understand. I'm a little less.
No, you don't play on your phone. You don't.
I do it when I know that I can just go into it and
Yeah.
not have to worry about missing something.
You can sit and be quiet for a little bit because you meditate every day and I don't. And I have to tend to my farm, my app game,
Yeah.
and go.
Be clear about this
Yeah.
one. Yes.
Yeah.
The music is amazing.
Yeah. Heyday.
Yeah. For all of you hey dayers,
I don't know if anyone plays it.
hey writers.
Yeah, I think it's for 6-year-olds, but I'm already on level 50. I've committed this much time.
So they have 50 levels.
At least.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
Farmville, take that.
Yeah, no, I was actually legitimately addicted to Mafia Wars and Farmville, to the point, this is so sad. So I used to be married, and this is so embarrassing to say this, that we were watching a movie, and I pretended that I go to the bathroom, and this is before apps are out. I went and logged into our desktop computer to check my Mafia Wars, and he got up and caught me. He's like, "Are you checking right now?" And I was like, "Well,
Wow.
it's a time, sensitive thing. I'm gonna get this gun and blah blah blah." And he's just like, "We're watching a movie together." By the way, we're now divorced. It's not because of that game.
It wasn't because of Mafia Wars.
No, but that didn't help.
No, I can, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just took it down a notch.
Yeah, well, the history of
2
gaming.
a.m.
This is what
2
happens.
a.m.
So let's talk about what's happened. I think this is really important to tell this journey, or at least document this journey from where we started. If you've heard the first part 1, then you know. And if you haven't, maybe pause this and go listen to that and then come back. But
It's our 1-month anniversary.
it's the 1-month anniversary.
No, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it's kind of crazy. I've never had a project like this that has come together so fast and so together and in flow, and it's been easy. Everyone, previous business partners, previous projects, as soon as the work part comes, it's really, really hard to kind of get started. We all will throw out ideas and brainstorm, but I feel inspired. And I think the biggest difference about this project versus previous projects I've done is that we have a purpose, and we really both want to help others, and we want to help ourselves. Both of us are lifelong learners, and we watched a beautiful movie. Actually, you introduced me to it while you were here. Wayne Dyer's The Shift, which is free on YouTube, everyone, by the way. We can put that in our notes.
We will. Yeah, it'll be in the notes.
Yeah, in the YouTube
or the
links.
description. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's
What
it's one of
is
those
it?
things
I
you just
still
have to watch,
don't
and
even know what it is.
right. I've seen it more than once, admittedly,
Yeah.
and I've gotten something different from it each time. And it's not like I watch it like every day. It's,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that you catch the lesson based on where you're at.
Maybe like The Secret, the movie, like I'll watch that once a year just to kind of come back to it and just remind myself of those principles. But we've talked about this before. You have to like watch it and then you have to go live your life.
You have to go live your life.
You can't be addicted to, watching the same thing over and you have to go and live and like put the faith in action.
Hmm. I agree. It's something that you get these lessons, and the movie, it hits me. I think you had your own experience with it. But when I met you that first time at the EOL event, I mentioned to you and Matt, you guys need to watch this film, and I think you bookmarked it on YouTube, and that was that. But I'm glad we had a chance to do that and go through that today. It sort of set the pace for the day. It's kind of strange, and we ended up after,
Chilling. This was like supposed to be our super productive day.
and we ended up at the beach.
Yeah.
But that was what we needed. And that sort of reminds me, we sat down with our first guest and we had an amazing conversation. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. But at the end of it, it was the thing about what do you do to sort of unplug and recharge? And today was one of those moments.
Yeah.
And we posed that question again on Facebook Live, and maybe we can talk about it here, but I want to ask you, Nicole, what is it that
Yeah.
sort of you just even out again and reset your system so you can go forward?
I do a couple things. First thing that I love to do is when I'm feeling uneasy is just kind of take an account. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I, like how can I make my current situation, my immediate environment better? That's why I'm really obsessed with lighting candles or incense or, maybe I haven't had a glass of water in, a couple of hours, just those little things. Because usually when I overreact or I'm just getting, just insane, essentially. It's like, oh, I just need a granola bar. That's the granola bars literally like save or solve like 80% of my problems.
You always have it.
Yeah, always like 6 of them, and I get really freaked out when I don't because I get so hangry. But to the next level, to really calm down, I do the stuff that made me happy as a kid and really connecting. I feel like my whole life I'll just be trying to be the person I already was. Because when I was in middle school and high school, I was so connected. I grew up in a spiritual family. I had like an altar. I went to teen meditation class, like the whole thing. But I was so sure of myself
Yeah,
and I was so confident and just couldn't wait to get out into the real world and, kind of
right.
prove myself and all that energy. But I don't know. I was in love with nature. I was in love with painting. I did Taekwondo, which is definitely a martial art, but it really is an art form.
Absolutely.
And you move your body in a certain way and in sync with other people. There's
Mhm.
something spiritual about that, and it's a practice. I used to meditate all the time. And then life happened, and it teaches you to do all these bad things, and you
Yeah.
kind of get distracted from who you are. Got married, and then, realized that wasn't working out. And the whole time I've just been trying to get back to that person. So, how do I unwind? To your original question. I love to paint. I love to color. I love to dance. I sing all the time.
Mhm.
You can attest, I am not a good singer at all. I'm not like one of those people in LA that, like, oh, I'm not a good singer. And then they're like on American Idol. No, like I sound like a drowning cat. But I love it. Anything that's creative and fun and expresses anything that's away from a computer. That's what
Yeah.
I've learned. I am most happy when I'm having a one on one conversation or eating good food, some kind of sensory experience, moving my body, listening to music, being creative. It's all away from a computer.
Yeah.
So sometimes if I'm like kind of feeling depressed, I'm in a funk, I can't shake it, I just go on a 15-minute walk and it's amazing, which is 15 minutes of fresh air in the sunshine and just kind of changing your environment and realizing you don't live in a giant dark hole. There's beautiful trees outside. It's a
Yeah.
sunny day. Like, go enjoy it.
Yeah. Just walk.
Yeah. So, how about you? How do you unplug and unwind and recharge?
Yeah, it varies from time to time like you. I have so many things that I love to do outside of just working. It's work is weird for me. I love what I do.
Remind
And
people what you do for people who don't know.
so briefly, I I run a digital agency, very small. I do web app and mobile application development for organizations and universities around the United States. And I also still do consulting work for small businesses and uh, music related types of projects or
Yeah.
creative projects.
So your
So
hours are all over the
they're
place.
they're all over the place, and my thoughts are all over the place. My energy gets divided very often. Um, Focus gets fragmented, so I have to shift gears. So when I'm in creative mode, it's very different than when I'm in talking with someone who may be having an issue with where we're at with a project, in business, in my
Yeah.
in my business. So I'm doing a lot of gear shifting, I call it, throughout my days. A lot of the time, it's not always like that, but certain points in time, wherever we're at in a project, it could be pretty hectic. And then when I find the time to actually just do my thing, where I don't have to dedicate an exorbitant amount of hours towards work, then I love to, the same thing. I'll admit nature is my big thing. A walk. I love just going for a walk or sitting down with a friend and having coffee. Like the simple act of having a coffee and like a shortbread cookie or some kind of like something that's probably not good for me.
Yeah, but also demonstrating to someone else that you care and that you're checking up on them and
Yeah.
that you value the relationship and you're moving forward and you're
Yeah.
investing time in somebody and
Exactly.
vice versa.
Exactly, and it's not about being on the cell phone because I mean, look at around us right now. If you guys who are listening could see this, I have tech everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I'm built for it. I love it, but I also understand its place in my life. It's taken me a long time to get to that. So, sitting down with a friend, going to the beach is one of my biggest things. I feel like I can actually breathe when I'm at the water, which is it's healing and there's something more to it. I don't quite understand it, but I love it. But also the mountains and those the sunsets or sunrise for that matter if I'm up. And,
I don't think I've ever seen a sunrise. It's not in my nature.
I've seen a few good
Unless I have
ones.
to go to LAX, that's it.
That's about it,
Yeah.
yeah. I've seen
Or I'm coming home.
it's funny, I've actually seen quite a few great sunrises from an airplane,
Oh.
and it's something, it's beautiful. But I've probably seen a lot more poignant moments through the window of an airplane than I have actual sunsets with
Yeah.
people or even alone. It's weird. But,
Perspective.
yeah, it's kinda cool. But, yeah, and then I also just like to do something completely different than what I've been doing, so I'll create something. So it may be picking up the acoustic guitar, it may be designing something, in Photoshop, some kind of graphic or just something that's gonna take me in another direction. And it could simply be laughing, like, I love to laugh. That's why I love getting together with a friend for coffee or being around a bunch of people that are just having a wonderful time and we can talk real,
Yeah,
and have
that's key for me. Being able to have
absolutely.
the real conversation and get down, just screw the small talk and let's how's your soul?
Absolutely.
You're like tell everybody what I was asking you, like when we were driving to the beach and stuff.
Yeah,
I
you
was
really hit me with some heavy duty questions. It was like
anytime there was like any silence, I'm
you're like,
like,
"So, Mike, what's your core wound?"
yeah.
And I went, "Whoa, what?"
Like another space happens, I'm like, so what's your life's purpose? And
Yeah,
you're like, can we just listen to the music? Like, God.
yeah, it was really but, we needed to have that. It was almost like we were in a very productive, inspired mode, but I think
We
you
were
felt it.
regenerating.
We were in regeneration, and we had to go and sort of just let it be whatever it was, and not be hard. Because I used to get hard on myself for not being productive, air quote
Well, we're
productive.
getting around to it. It's 2 a.m.
Yeah, we
We're
well,
here. We got it.
well, we actually were fairly productive. I mean, we did a lot of mapping and stuff. It wasn't what we thought it would be,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
But going with the flow and being able to just, how do I feel? Check in with yourself. And both of us were exhausted today,
Pretty
but
much.
but we wanted to get in the car and go to the beach. It took us till 4 or 5 to get there, get going.
It took a while.
But it was worth it. Even after an hour of driving, from Hollywood to Marina Del Rey, we
Yeah.
got there right at this perfect moment. That was my tummy. making an appearance with noises and gurgling. But I remember walking onto the beach and seeing the sunset, and we had like the last 10 minutes of the sunset in this bright orange and yellow and pink. It was just this beautiful, and there's nobody on the beach. There's like three people,
Yeah, it was great.
and we were supposed to be there at that time. You know, those moments where you know where you're supposed to be, and you're walking in those
And that
moments.
was a great bookend to 4 days of absolute synchronicity flow moments. It was just
Creepiness. It was just all creepiness,
yeah,
but in a good way.
and it all related to this project, and we keep coming back to it, and I know we've mentioned it a couple times on the episodes here now, where we can't believe how easy it's become. And maybe we can touch on a few of the things we've learned because we've had some conversations with some key people since we've started in the first part one. We've had some really interesting learning moments. We've had some really powerful conversations separately and together. And it's really setting up. It's helping us reframe a bit where we're headed with this project and the podcast. And I'm very encouraged by the reception still, but it's on another level. We've gotten some great responses. Would you be open to sharing some of the feedback you're getting, or maybe?
Yeah, definitely. You know, since I'm monitoring the social every 5 seconds. But someone, had shared their wonderful story, of heartache, essentially, and getting sober, and
Uh-huh.
that this is such important work. That's what I keep hearing over and over and over. This is so important. We don't talk about this.
Yeah,
But this whole weekend for me, just kind of before I talk about like the response, but just for us, was really eye-opening, and we're so on the same page. We actually came from very different backgrounds, but we've gone through a lot of the same issues,
yeah.
taking it back to that core wound.
Hmm.
And, I shared, that I've only known you for a month,
Yeah.
and I have all of this baggage that's wrapped up in a lot of different things. Number one, not trusting business partners
Hmm.
from previous experiences,
Right.
uh, not trusting men. That I think that if, I always have to have this wall up because when I, release it, then they'll take advantage of me in some way. And, we just had this wonderful open conversation that we just put it out there. I'm like, this is what I'm afraid of. It has nothing to do with you and your character. It's just all the stuff that's showing up.
Yeah.
And you totally loved that and you accepted it and you said, I totally get that. Don't worry about that, And it
Hmm.
makes me feel like this is the real deal and that we're going to create greatness. We already are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, that's so powerful. Yeah, it's amazing. I really enjoyed that stuff. Just the open conversations um, between the two of us. It's interesting, the similarities, like you said, and it's actually helped me sort of open up and break. This is something I keep saying is I'm sort of breaking out of that
Old story.
the old story, the cocoon, and I'm getting back out there a little bit more slowly. But it's not because I'm necessarily doing it.
I'm just
It's
kind of grabbed you and
you're like, hey, you're
taking
doing
you.
this,
Yeah, we're doing
yeah.
Facebook Live now, and you're like, wait, what?
Wait,
How's my
who?
hair? Huh?
Yeah, all the self conscious,
We don't have time for that.
No,
We gotta
you just
forge for it. I'm a bull in a china shop. Weird,
for sure. But
but it's
that's
beneficial in this
uh, no,
circumstance.
it completely
Yeah.
is, and I'm totally grateful for it, and I see the value and the opportunity in it. It's helping me sort of break out of the like you said, the old story. And I don't know if we've talked about this. Someone may be listening right now,
Hi,
and
future people.
yeah, and they don't know what old story is. Do you want to
Yeah.
maybe explain that?
So, for those who don't know, we met at a Kyle Cease Evolving Out Aloud event. And Mike's been to a couple, I've been to a couple. And what the old story is, if you want to shift, if you want to make a transformation in your life, you have to become aware of what your story is.
Hmm.
And not like how I grew up, but just the things that you blame, like, oh, I was poor growing up. I didn't have enough, resources. That's why I couldn't go to college. And that's why I have this, terrible job. Or, oh, my kids, I love them, but they take up all my time and energy. And that's why I can't be a painter. We have all these things in the story that we assign For me, in my core wound of my stories, everyone I love leaves me, abandonment. Yeah, let's dig in. So, I attract clients or boyfriends or, people into my life that show up and, are interested for 5 seconds and then just leave. And then I always say, well, of course it's like
Right.
this. I confirm my story, that
Yeah.
confirmation kind of bias.
You're setting it up.
Yeah, exactly. That self-fulfilling prophecy.
Hmm.
So, what would be really good is if you could explain. So that's what old story is, but can you explain the water bottle? Because that really
Well,
plays into that.
we did talk about that in the part one.
Yeah.
But
But it's
yeah.
2 a.m. and I don't remember that. And I
So
still feel like it's going to be useful.
right. So it kind of in conjunction with old story is the water bottle. You're walking through life with this thing. And the metaphor is the water bottle when Kyle ceases on stage and he has his water bottle with the cap off and he's sort of just walking around kind of crazy and it's just spilling out all over the place.
Oh God, it
And
causes me so much
it
anxiety.
right. And
Ugh.
yeah. And this is symbolizing this thing that you're holding on to very tightly, but you can't see you're not capable of handling it in your life. And you're worried about losing it. You're worried about damaging it. And then the universe comes in and takes it away and says, "Yes, you're clearly not capable. I'm going to take this out of your life." And
To show you that you're infinite.
that you're infinite, but you don't see that right away. I never saw it that way. It was like, what this happened to me. Why?
Not that I'm responsible for this in any way, but that life is happening to me. These bad people are doing this to me.
Exactly. You turn into a victim in a way, but that's a common knee jerk reaction. But eventually, with the work, you learn that you didn't need that thing. Maybe it was money, maybe it was friends, maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a car, whatever, a thing or a circumstance. And you would identify with that circumstance or that thing. It's part of who you are. It's part of your story. It goes away and it forces you to step into another level of who you are.
You're going up to the upper room. It's a like imagine a house and you're going up to the next floor and next level of consciousness and kind of bringing it back to Wayne Dyer
Uh,
in the shift. He was talking about these like key moments. I can't remember what they were called. But anyways, but that moment where
that's the best way to say
yeah,
it. Yeah.
your story is shattered, because
Hmm.
what you thought before and what you were capable of and who you were and your identity is shattered in some way.
Within a moment,
Yeah.
literally something that changes everything.
And you can't go back. Once you know that truth, once your denial or whatever shatters your old story, I can think of a very particular moment in my life where that happened. And, I'd been married for a year and a couple months, but we had been together for 6 years. And I
Mhm.
was, from 18 to 24. And I just woke up one day and looked in the mirror and just said, I can't do this anymore. And I can't be this person. I can't pretend to like this situation, and I just couldn't fight anymore because who I was, my true authentic self, was just begging to come out and just like kind of cracks. I'm bringing back a lot of things to the Matrix today because I love that movie. But do you know when like Smith, Agent Smith is like, Neo puts his hand in him or whatever, and then it like becomes a ball of light and then like
From
explodes?
the inside. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Kind of one of those moments where you can't go back. These are earth shattering, evolving, death of old story.
Also, extreme clarity.
Yes. In that moment, you know where you are, you can see everything, and there are, you can smell things, like you can recount it like it was just yesterday.
Right.
So that's like one of those moments in my life that's like, bam, I can't
Yeah.
go back.
No. And I know our listeners have those. Everybody has those
I'd
moments.
love to hear some people if they want to share, comment or send us a private message if you just want us to hear it. But we'd love to hear that moment, that story, shattering, evolving, walking into a higher level. There's so many different analogies.
Yeah.
But what's something that shifted in your life?
Either in the past or now. Maybe you're
Yeah.
working on it now. And you're in the middle of it in your
Hashtag MurkyAF.
Murky AF. Yes.
We're gonna make
It's a
t-shirts.
wonderful
That's part
hashtag.
that's part of it.
Murky.
When you're just working through it, it's murky.
Yeah. explain it, maybe? No?
Did we explain the fish tank
We
thing
d
before?
I don't know.
See, again, it's like 2 a.m.
Yeah,
So our entire podcast is just recounting everything that happened with Kyle Cease at the Evolving Out Loud workshop. So that's great.
at this point.
We- We'll grow, but so far it's good. We want to catch everyone up. So what it is, it's called cleaning the fish tank. And when you clean out the fish tank, you take out most of the water, you clean off the rocks, and then you pour new, fresh, wonderful water in. But before you do that, like while you're doing that, it just gets so murky. All the stuff comes up, and you see all the little fish poop, and it's gross, and it's so it temporarily looks a lot worse than it did before
Mhm.
because you couldn't really see all that grime, and it's just
But it was
all
there.
hashtag MurkyAF. And
Mm.
I'll text Mike every once in a while when I'm just working through things. I'm just having a hard day, and and I'll just hashtag MurkyAF. Let's get that trending. I
Yeah,
think that's what we should do.
it's
So
totally
I want
gonna
to know your
happen.
murky moments.
Yeah, drop us a note. Either
That'd be a fun like little side thing, call in your hotline with your murky moments.
Murky Mo We'll have to do that. That
One eight
sounds cool.
hundred 555 murky.
Murky.
Yeah.
So good. So, another thing that's been really cool that's sort of developed is some of the people that we're going to be bringing in,
Yeah.
and some of the perspective. And I met a couple of your close friends just recently. One has already recorded with us. Again, I can't wait to put that out. And
Yeah.
another one the other night in a completely synchronous
So again,
moment.
bringing it back to Kyle Cease for the
We
thousandth
swear,
time.
Kyle, it's really not
Yeah.
what it sounds like.
But it's all
Maybe it
synchronicity.
is.
I love that. So we had our 1 month EOL meetup that I designed, outside of.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, and we had it over at Cade Sol in Toluca Lake and here in Los Angeles. And I look over and, we're on the patio and I look into the bar and there's CJ. And I'm just like, and I couldn't quite, he was far enough where I couldn't tell with this beautiful blonde, and I'm just like, I texted him. I'm like, CJ, are you here at Cade Sol? He just replies back, maybe. And so, for those who don't know, CJ Vanston is the musical director for Spinal Tap. He's also he's composed a lot of Christopher Guest movies and done work for the Muhammad Ali Foundation. Is just one of the most talented pianist composers that I know.
Yeah, and very
So
cool.
he's just a cool guy, and he has got great stories. And but he's always busy. He's got things going on. So
Yeah,
I've been thinking about him, and we haven't been able to talk to each other recently, playing phone tag. But of course, at the EOL meetup, when we need to find our second guest, I look over,
and who's there?
and there he is
There
with
he
his
is.
beautiful wife, Tony.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and they're lovely.
yeah,
For they're cool people, and I can't wait to sit down and have some real talk.
yeah. I mean, CJ's history, like 16 years old, leaves high school, like joins like a black blues band,
Yeah,
goes on the Chitlin circuit,
yeah.
and he's named CJ because there was an AJ and a BJ, and he's CJ for Caucasian Jeff. He's the only white kid in there, so I'm sure he's got some stories
Yeah, he does.
that he
I
can,
caught a glimpse of it, so it's gonna be
And I
awesome.
loved telling you that everything that you heard was the most boring CJ story ever,
Yeah,
but it's so entertaining. He's a wonderful light. So
absolutely. Yeah, that's happening soon. We're gonna be tracking probably next time I'm back,
yeah.
and that's gonna be amazing. So,
Well, lots of great guests, lots of potential, lots of people who are interested. I feel the energy. I
yeah,
feel the momentum. I just got to keep my ego in check. We got to keep communicating for us as partners.
yeah,
And I love that we can have those open and honest conversations about, hey, just because we're business partners, like we are bringing baggage. It's just like a relationship. And this is what has happened to me before, and this is what I'm scared of. So
yeah,
if you could try not to, step on these giant landmines, like wouldn't that be wonderful in a romantic relationship? If you just showed up and you're like, these are my landmines, like, can you do your best not to stand on those?
yeah,
Because a lot of times I feel like we're just pretending in relationships, especially in the beginning. And
yeah.
the landmines are there,
They're always gonna be
and
there.
you just pretend like they're not
Well,
there.
they're further out.
Yeah,
They're further out. So, when you're in the early part of that relationship, there's nothing there
yeah,
because they're hidden. They're pushed far off into the horizon, and once you get into the horizon where you're more comfortable,
yeah,
you start to have the moments where oh, maybe he wasn't as understanding as he expressed,
led on to being.
or maybe she isn't exactly who, acting the way that she would normally. Oh, and those set people off, and they get worried, and oh, that's a whole thing. We're gonna go into relationships.
Yeah,
We got to get the
definitely.
right guests on with us, but we alone, between you and I, have some.
Great stories.
Yeah,
A lot
they're.
of stand-up comedy material.
Oh, for sure.
I could just like for an hour just read messages that I've received on OkCupid just as the first message.
I had a friend.
I take screenshots of them and I post them online
I
sometimes.
had a friend who would share these with
You
me.
can't believe it. It
It's
just
ridiculous. Come on, guys.
yeah,
Really?
step up.
I'm. Yeah.
But
But
again,
let's also come on. We can't throw the guys under the bus without throwing the women under it too,
oh yeah, no,
because
women are terrible.
horrible.
Yeah,
And it's yeah. Wow. That's my hashtag. Wow for
yeah,
wow dating.
yeah.
Really?
Wow, dating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's crazy.
So there's a lot of areas that we can explore in this podcast, but predominantly through the music industry. How do you create your balance? We're going to talk about the balance that we're creating in our lives personally, also as co-hosts and business partners, and then also with our guests and, exploring, what they're doing and where they are in their life and how they're hashtag MurkyAF.
Yeah.
And I just love that. It needs to be a
The
t-shirt.
murky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Murky moments.
Murky moments, baby.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, but the murky, I think that's where we're going to get some gold.
Let's get in the dirt, let's go play around. Let's
Yeah.
have a real conversation because it needs to be because people are dying, the musicians are it's serious. Mental health um, can be a wonderful and beautiful thing if it's in balance, but it can be very torturous and scary if it's not. And I want people to have resources. I want people to talk openly. I want the stigma to be taken away because I want
Yeah.
everyone to realize we all go through it.
Yeah.
Maybe not the same things, but we all go through our murky moments.
Absolutely. It's the whole keeping up appearances thing for me. That's what I'm, the stigma, that breaking down that damn wall, the way that people are. I'm seeing it more and I'm hearing about it more now. Now that we're talking to more people about these things, I'm hearing the response. And it's a bit disheartening. It's easy to turn into somebody who goes, well, I have this, and if you don't understand, screw you.
Yeah.
And you turn into an angry person who's dealing with these issues that you can resolve. There is a way. We met that chiropractor slash
Oh,
allergist
another
slash
twilight moment,
slash
doo.
oh, it's
Judy
insane.
Julin, thanks for
Right.
hooking us up.
Yeah, this gentleman was just powerful.
Yeah.
And
We got out of the car and we were like an hour and a half late because we're, had to get our fresh squeezed juice because it's LA. And it took us forever to get there. But as soon as we got out of the car, he was coming out and leaving.
leaving.
So of course he was. And then Judy was right there. And she's like, oh, this is the guy I want you to meet.
Right.
You've been going through, back issues and allergy issues. And within like 5 minutes, I knew like, oh, I don't even need a chiropractor, but I need to see him.
Yeah.
Like he just is a healer.
Absolutely. He took it uh multiple levels deeper than I would
Yeah.
have guessed. And I told you initially when I spoke with him, he did take it pretty deep, but it wasn't until I saw there someone was challenging some of the things he was
Like, I
saying.
don't really believe in this.
Right.
Basically, for those who don't know, and his approach is that your chiropractic care and your whole body wellness. Yes, there are medical things about it, and you have to look for the symptoms and do all the right tests. But if those are inconclusive, then it's psychosomatic, and you have to look into the psychology of it and the trauma of what you
Right.
happened. Like someone was allergic to strawberries. That was a
Yeah.
crazy
That
story.
was a nuts
So
one.
this like 10-year-old was allergic to
Hmm.
strawberries, and but they did a pinprick test on his arm, and he's not technically allergic. So, but every time you eat strawberries, his lips would get swollen, and it
His
would just
tongue would swell up and
make it hard to breathe.
yeah.
And so he just started talking to him kind of in a therapist way and trying to figure out when did this start.
Hmm.
And the kid had failed one of his math tests and came home, and the mom had to sign it. And, she's like, I'm not going to sign it until we tell your father, what happened.
Yeah.
So they had a dinner, a wonderful dinner, but it was eerily quiet. And then,
Dragged out.
yeah, and he's just sweating bullets, eating his chicken and, whatever. They pull out, and Mom has made a fresh baked strawberry shortcake.
Yeah.
And then at that moment tells the dad,
Oh, by the way.
look what your son has done.
Yeah.
Your son, not our son.
Right.
Your son is failing math.
Mm-hmm.
And he freaked out. The dad was just angry, and I, put money on the table. I do this, I do that, rah, and just.
It was very traumatic for the kid.
Yeah, they just started screaming at each other to the point where the kid threw up because he was so much in terror.
Right.
Then they stopped.
And there was that imprint there. And also this was when the kid was 8 years old.
Yeah.
So this was some time back.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the doctor figured that out and through some way, released that trauma through strawberries. The kid was fine.
Yeah. No longer allergic.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder what on earth is, like, for me, what
because you were fine, and then all of a sudden all this random stuff started showing up. So.
Yeah, it started. It's like I was getting great, and then it's like, well, okay, yeah, here's another layer of stuff to sort of, you need to figure this out, Mike, universe says.
Yeah, exactly. That's your water bottle moment where
Yeah.
where it's trying to prove to you you are infinite. You're bigger than and more infinite, more wonderful than all these restrictions. So we're going to take away the food. We're going to take away all this stuff. We're going to strip it down so you can really understand that your true purpose and what you're here to live.
Yeah, you don't need these things.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
I've been through that too. Possessions.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just nuts.
Or Facebook likes for me.
Facebook likes, Facebook.
Yeah.
Social media.
So we have so many wonderful topics. We'd love to get that chiropractor on and just talk to thought leaders and music, who are heart-centered in the music space.
Yeah.
So you guys have a lot to look forward to. We're working very hard, including talking at 2 a.m. and drinking our tension tamer tea.
Yeah. It was delish.
It was delish.
Well,
awful.
on this note, for the Mental Notes podcast, I'm Mike Bajrami.
I'm Nicole Slater.
And I want to thank you for listening. And if you have any notes, any comments, drop us a line.
Or guests that you want to,
If you have a story you want to tell, share with us. We'll probably end up sharing it on an episode for sure. You never know.
Yeah.
So-
Hashtag MurkyAF. Tell us your murky moments.
Yes.
What are you working through?
Definitely. And I think we're going to have one more check-in for preseason.
I don't know. I
Maybe.
wasn't aware of that.
Maybe.
but- okay.
Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see. But we're really close to episode
launching.
1 and 2 and onward and upward.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So take care. And
We love you. Thanks for listening. And find us at mentalnotespodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mental Notes Pod.
there you have it.
Bye, guys.
Take care.